Hi everyone. Is it okay to be single? Yes. There may be reasons to this. To some, they want to remain single all through their life. That's a decision they took on their own, and it's a perfect one. As long as you devote yourself completely to the things of God and you keep your body for Him. All right. And then to some others, they are still single because they are waiting on the Lord. Now, Paul said in First Corinthians chapter 7, verse 34, he said there is a difference between a wife and a virgin. A virgin, talking about the singles that are not yet married. He said they are devoted to the things of God. But for the married, her interests are divided, right? So while you are yet single, don't let anybody coerce you into getting married when you're not ready. Just remain devoted to God, and God will prepare and work out your own marriage, and you'll be amazed, you know, the kind of partner God will give to you. You will enjoy the rest of your life, right? See you again. Once upon a time, the Corinthians wrote to Paul asking so many questions. Questions like, is it compulsory for everybody to get married? Is it a sin to remain single? What if one gets married to an unbelieving spouse? What should he or she do? As a widow or widower, should he or she remarry? And Paul, answering these questions in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, said, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and every woman have her own husband. This is the standard that God has placed for us to follow, and we must try as much as possible to follow the standard. And next we shall be dealing on those questions that were asked by the Corinthians. See you again. Is your spouse giving you so much stress and you're like, I can't take it anymore. I've gotten it up to here. It's either divorce or this or that. Calm down. Relax. You know what? Grab a fruit. Sit down for like 10 minutes. Think about the good times you had together before and even after you said, I do. You know, Satan sometimes doesn't like sweet things. He doesn't want to enjoy that marriage. Don't give him that opportunity. Now, as you relax, ask the Holy Spirit to come into your marriage and take control and see the changes that will occur. Learn to tolerate, and don't forget to say, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter whether you were at fault or not, just to make peace reign so you can enjoy that marriage. All right? See you again. Hello and welcome. What if my partner is an unbelieving partner? Is the question for today. Who is a believer? A believer in this context is one who is a follower of a spiritual practice. And I use the word spiritual because the life we live is even spiritual. Now, there could be reasons why one partner is an unbeliever. It could be that when both of you got married, you were both unbelievers. You know, both of you believed in idol worshiping, or you had not surrendered your life to God. So to speak, you were not born again. But along the line, someone heard a word or got an encounter with God and is now born again. Is now a believer and a doer of the word. He or she has seen the light, but then the other partner hasn't. Now, Paul advised in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14, he said, a believing husband or wife sanctifies the unbelieving husband or wife, including the children. So you don't have to worry. As long as you are a believer, the family is already sanctified. Okay? Now, all you need to do is to keep up the believer's attitude that will attract your spouse to the light. Okay? And make your spouse also a believer, including your children. All right? But on the contrary, in verse 15, he says, where the unbelieving partner decides to depart, he has seen the light but refused to flow along, and he or she decides to depart. He say, let the partner depart. He say, because a brother or a sister is not under any bondage in this case, for the sake of peace. But my prayer is, as you have seen the light, that your partner too will see the light, become a believer, and the entire house will become big believers. All right? And the marriage continues. See you again. Hi everyone and welcome. Today's topic is, should a widow remarry? First of all, my condolences to all those that are affected. But then, even in this period of grief, I got a good news for you. Isaiah 54 verse 4 says, "Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither shalt thou be confounded." And verse 5 said, "For thy maker is thy husband." That is to say, you're not alone. God is still your husband. Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 39 that you are at liberty to be married to whomsoever you will, but it must be in the Lord. Okay? But then in verse 40 he said that you would have been much more happier if you remain the way you are. So then, make the right decision. That'll be okay for you, alright? See you again. Like heaven, like hell. Sometimes in this life is so sweet, we're enjoying it, and we feel like, oh, this life shouldn't even come to an end at all. This enjoyment should continue. And some of the times in life, it's like we're in hell. Things seem to be turned upside down. There seems not to be anything positive again. We only see negative, and we're asking, God, why did you even create me in the first place? I feel like committing suicide. Please, whenever you find yourself in this condition, grab John 16 verse 33 and use it to encourage yourself. That portion says, here on earth, you will see and experience trials and sorrows. But it says, take heart, be of good cheer. It says, because I have overcome the world. That is to say, you're not alone in that condition. It may only be a test. It may only be a test. And if you remain firm and strong, I tell you, you will come out victorious. All right? See you again.